Hi everyone, it's Rob Cosman from sellingfromthebeach.com. This video is a little different. We're going to go behind the scenes of a 170,000 square foot Amazon and e-commerce warehouse fulfillment center. Blair Forrest from amzprep.com, amzprep.com. It's a prep service that was kind enough to take our members, our Facebook members, on a behind the scenes tour of their operations and a little Q&A. Sometimes a seller like me, you kind of forget that partners like these are key and they have massive operations out there to service you. Checking them out, going behind the scenes, super cool. So what we did was we walked around, we looked at how they operated, what prep centers can do, like for custom boxing and inserts and things like that that you might need. We also talked about how you might do some due diligence on picking your own prep center to work with, questions to ask, what to look for, and things to watch out for. It was super helpful. So, sit back, enjoy. Let's jump right to the video.
Yeah, there.
Right, we got a few more people coming in.
Where are you? Want to go in this room, maybe?
That's good.
We can hide away.
Yeah, you guys have to stay close because
Yeah, yeah. We got a certain amount of extension, basically.
You got like a mic and a team and everything. I love it.
Yeah, take the whole spin. We got the whole crew behind us now too. Yeah.
We're all here.
we got like 3 different cameras running at the same time.
Yeah, we got like I'm gonna make this one look super like POV.
Yeah. So we're trying to get like more like docu-series style content. So Michael's helping with that. It's cool. We're trying to do the whole thing.
Awesome. So you're so pro, and I can't even figure out how to do a Facebook Live.
Yeah, you'll age yourself, Rob, if you say you couldn't figure out the Facebook Live. Dude,
I'm well aware. I'm well aware how old I am now. Every day I get out of bed.
We'll wait in here for like a couple minutes until the rest of the team jumps in. Oh, maybe we can just jump right in.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
You gotta go first.
yeah, Rob. We got a wired thing.
We're connected.
So you see this? Everything has to flow accordingly, basically. How does it look from your side, Z?
Well, you're gonna see.
On this one. Oh, cool. This one looks good too.
Super clear, yeah.
That's fun.
Fancy.
Soft lid. The input's still there.
Yeah. The safe never moved at all, basically.
Yeah.
Rob, where are you, by the way?
Costa Rica.
You're really clean up in here, man.
Is it reconnecting?
No, it's connected.
Oh.
You guys are
I
good.
don't
I
think
can
he's
hear you fine.
Yeah, there. He wasn't saying anything.
It's new
Sorry,
Wi-Fi
yeah.
here, so I just don't know if it's all getting messed up.
Holy
It's actually
smokes.
Yeah, you've never seen the place, eh, Rob?
It's huge.
You've been
Yeah,
there,
Is
Max?
there any way we can? Is there any way we can make him bigger, or am I just a Zoom noob?
No, can I make him the host? Did I put him big?
Yeah, it would have to be on Rob, I think, to make me bigger. Like, am I on the screen?
Yeah,
Yeah, he
you're
can
just
decide
you're
on
in the
the-
grid. You're in the
Yeah,
grid.
if you can.
There you go.
Oh yeah, there you go. You've been
There we go.
Make it
spotlighted.
big?
Oh,
Yeah,
You're good.
yeah.
You're good.
Looks good.
Again, I've learned something new.
Yeah,
Apologize
so
to
good.
everybody else that has to put up with my
you're a
newbie
tech
stuff.
pro. That's exactly what it is.
Sorry. Okay, well, we got some people here. I'm recording.
All right,
Dude,
rock
this
and roll.
place looks awesome. Yeah, I'll just hand the floor over, man, and let's.
Yeah. I've never done one of these, so I'm gonna just usually clients come here, but I was like, maybe let's do virtual, and I thought it was good timing. Obviously, you guys have a badass community, so I wanted to do something. So I'll run through the warehouse, and then I don't know, we'll do it for like 15 or 20 minutes. We'll go through some shipments, and then I know some people even had some questions in the messenger. So anyway, we'll go through some of them, but so what you see here. This is what we're just implementing robots as we speak.
Yeah,
so it'll be super cool.
Before you get started,
so
I'll just tell anybody, if you have questions on the way, just throw it in the chat. And then after kind of Blair goes through a tour, then maybe we can start going through some of those questions. Cool.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, just fire them away, guys. Very specifically ones, like hit them. Anything out of the order, there's no stupid question. You'll see. So the way that we have our warehouses set up, so we almost have 2 types of warehouses. So we have what we call almost like our enterprise suite. And then we have more like our prep centers, which a lot of the Amazon sellers. So this warehouse, this is what we call our enterprise warehouse. So this one's 170,000 square feet. And we do some Amazon shipments here, but a lot of it is e-commerce fulfillment, merchant fulfillment, The company is like selling on retail, like Walmart and Loblaws and so forth. So this is more of like our 3PL warehouse versus just like a pure prep center. So we'll service some sellers here, but we won't do the likes of an online arbitrage from here or like some small wholesale stuff. It's meant for like maybe like big private label sellers, like large brands, those big aggregators. All of them end up coming through this warehouse. So I want to go through some of the picking bins and show you guys some of the ropes, how we're picking orders, so on and so forth. And then Rob, if you have questions, I don't know if Max is on the live too, but just continue to fire them away. It'll be good for us. So if you end up seeing here, so at the moment, this is the cap of how high we can actually put the racking. So at the moment, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting a whole second floor of racking, and there'll be stairs going up to it. There's a limit with capacity. So we'll end up putting another flooring here, and then these picking bins, we're going to do it again all the way up in essence. So it'll end up fitting probably around like 5,000 to 8,000 picking bins inside the warehouse. 10,000 plus pallet positions, give or take. So it's big. So you'll see. So we have a customer like let me go through one of the other bins. I want to show them one that might be relevant to them specifically. Cool. Maybe even down here. So picture you're selling FBM, Rob, you also sell in your Shopify store too, right?
Yeah, well, my Shopify store doesn't do much, but yeah.
All right. Well, picture that the Shopify store is actually coming in here. So what will end up happening? So we work with a brand called Amara Beauty. Do you know Summer Rae? So she's a big beauty influencer and so forth. Anyway, so we handle her Shopify fulfillment from the warehouse. So what ends up happening is that we have an app. It's like this e-shipper shipping app. So we'll connect to the Shopify store. So an order will come in from Shopify. We'll automatically pull a shipping label, and then the warehouse team, and we'll get one of the guys to show they have this whole like, almost looks like a Spider-Man setup on their wrist. It's really cool. And they'll get a specific order on their tablet to pick a certain order in a certain location. So everything is configured on like a specific bin location. So everything has to be barcoded and scanned through. But the guys are going to grab it directly from the bin and then walk over to the station and then pick pack. But what they do is they'll end up going through what we call sprints. So, for example, they'll go and in the morning, they'll go and pick 60 orders or 100 orders, depending on like the configuration, and the technology does all of it. So they'll walk over, there'll be 18 picks for this item. They'll then scan the item and then process it through. So in essence, it's simplistic. We just do a ton of it, basically.
Watching inside
and
like a prep center.
All right, I'm just muting people here.
You guys can hear me though, right?
Yeah, keep going, man.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So picture we have someone at like 9 a.m. or 7 a.m. They'll come through and pick 30, 40, 100 orders for all these different customer Shopify stores that we end up configuring, or FBM, or we're doing some like Walmart.ca orders as well. Now what we're doing is that if you see these here, so these are the new robots that we're adding. It's really cool. So what's going to end up happening is that these are going to automatically go through and pick all the orders. So it will automatically basically follow you, grab the order, and then it's going to go to the correct picking station afterwards to be able to ship the order out. So every night at like 1 a.m., these are going to be able to turn on, process through. So like we'll do it through shifts that there's no one even here. So in the morning, the team already has like a full setup of products that they literally need to put inside a box, put a shipping label on, and then ship it out of the warehouse. So think of us almost like mini minions. And we have 12 of them now. And then if they work well, we're going to scale it to get as many as possible. Like the more that we can automate inside the warehouse, the better.
How much is one of those things worth?
Oh, 10,000, give or take. Yeah, they're really expensive, but we need to consider that it can basically do like it's a full-time picker. So in essence, like the amount of orders that they can do on a daily basis, as long as orders come up, you don't need to have another individual. They don't need a sick day. None of that needs to occur because they're going to be working on autopilot. So we don't have to. We don't got to send them away for the Christmas holidays either. So yeah.
I think I built one of those with a Roomba.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's what I was thinking. So you'll see, like, here's more of a configuration of like a full bin setup. So it's basically like top to bottom. configured with all the corresponding. So every item has a specific bin location, and every item inside of it, they're actually using like an ASIN configuration. It's an Amazon product, but this is I don't know if they're doing FBM on this product. Anyway, so a ton of it. So I'll walk you guys through, and like people sell some crazy things. Like you'll see, like we got, I don't know, it's all like cat beds, and there's everything under the sun inside the facility. So it might get loud, but some of the team is actually packing orders as we speak. So right now, what happens? So if you see these are the rolling carts that currently pick the orders. In the future, this is where like the robotics will come into place. So right now, like they'll go through, we'll go through, pick 12 orders, we'll grab all of them, and then we'll move them over to our actual picking stations. So what you'll end up seeing here is like, this is where we're actually picking, packing, and shipping the order out of the warehouse. So this station is built with like all the specific box configurations, the labels, everything goes through here. We're just doing A&S. I don't know if you've had it, Rob. They're like a big supplement brand. They're great. So we do all like their Amazon or selling like Walmart, and they also have some FBM products because they're inventory limits and so forth. So anyway, so it'll come there, and then once the order is actually ready, they'll be at the station. It's like a full configuration for basically all things e-commerce. So the order will come in, they'll grab the box, label it. It's almost just like a mini Amazon. It's not as automated as Amazon, but that's the idea behind it. You'll also see here how I just want to show you the Amazon product. Is that okay?
That's not right now, it's B2B.
Oh, just Walmart?
B2C, B2B, not directly to customers.
You're just setting it up for the picking bins? Oh,
This is where they do packing.
how many orders is A&S doing a day?
NS can do easily over, depending on the B2B orders, B2B can be about 15 B2B orders. B2C could be probably approximately about 50 to 60 a day.
Wow. Okay. That makes sense. So there's a ton of it. So yeah, so everything. Thank you, sir. So yeah, so they'll end up going through. I'm gonna put this back, so I'm not nothing's changed whatsoever. But yeah, so it's like 60 like Shopify orders a day, and then they have 15 retail orders a day. So there's like, I don't know, GMC Supplements buys it, or Popeye Supplements, some local suppliers, so on and so forth. So again, if it's like a big shipment, we'll just do it on the ground like this. It's just like super easy to be able to do. We have a whole station set up, but again, like this warehouse is built for like high volume sellers. So either they're doing a ton of e-commerce, FBM, or like we have like, they're doing tens of thousands of labels. So yeah, you should see, like, we'll do a prep center at one point, like one of our other warehouses. But this one shows you the depth of it. So you guys can still see, right? The Wi-Fi's okay?
Yep. All good.
Rob, you saying yes? I'm gonna get a thumbs up.
Thumbs up, man.
Yeah, good. Cool. So the warehouse is full because it's Q4. Like it's really busy. But so what you'll end up seeing, so a lot of these sellers are the private label sellers. So we work with, like, you guys know all the aggregators and so forth, like, you know, the Brazzers of the world and Branded. So what they're doing, or a big private label seller, they're sending us 30 pallets of this, or maybe 100 pallets. Some of our sellers send like thousands of pallets, and it's all pre-labeled. We're just literally forwarding the box to Amazon. Rob, you know, I know you guys know the drill, but so this is it basically pre-Amazon. So once the shipment's actually ready, they might only grab, you know, 1 or 2 boxes from this. We're going to put the carton labels on the individual box, grab it, we're going to palletize and then route it out. Sometimes that we might actually palletize like the full shipment in is the full shipment out. Depends on the size of the seller, but some of these guys do, like, it's ridiculous. What was the question?
Somebody wasn't on mute. Sorry.
Oh, I was like, oh, goody, I got questions too.
Oh, but
We do
okay.
have
So
a-
I got
Yeah.
a question though about, so these are coming
Please.
in, and these are private label. These are obviously set up for case pack, right? So they already have the
Yep.
case pack. So they're just replenishing, and you guys just stash it and send it off, and it's already labeled, good to go.
Bingo. Yeah, we call it like we call it drip feeding. probably call something similar. So it's like drip feeding to one of the local Amazon FCs. So they're, because of inventory limits, they're going to send us 3 containers with the product. And then once the containers, we'll just every week we'll start depleting to the Amazon facilities, probably one of the local ones. Like here's one of the gentlemen, they're about to ship the order out. The machines are everywhere, so I gotta be careful I don't get my ass kicked. But yeah, Rob, so it's all like product in, product out. We're not labeling majority of it. They're really just slapping a label on a carton and sending it out. But what we've had to learn over time is that like we have like tens of millions of dollars of goods here, and it's really easy to lose things. A couple of years ago, like it was really challenging as we grew because like there's just every box looks the same, right? Like unless you have a proper system around it, it's a nightmare. So now what we have, you see these barcodes everywhere. So everything inside this warehouse is built with like so this warehouse is with 3PL Central as the back end. So basically everything has a corresponding like pallet location, bin location, everything is properly configured, and even like every box that arrives at the warehouse has like a corresponding shipping label set up with it as well. So like we've had to do this so the room for accuracy is so low, or if we move this pallet from here to that location tomorrow, our tech will tell the entire story through. So this way, like, you know, if we need to find Rob's to whatever it is, you'll be able to see it immediately. If you see this,
Forklift.
you're looking good. He's picking a pallet now to go out of the warehouse, which is cool.
So if somebody's got a Shopify store, I put your e-shipper plugin, the orders come in, you guys just kind of like batch them, you know, like every couple hours you check, see if there's something there and then go fulfill it, or how does that work?
So yeah, so what happens, so every morning, so at 9 a.m. basically, so any orders happen before 9 a.m. But what the tech does, it will like auto pull the label. So like it's a rate shopper platform. There's a few out there. So what will happen is like the order will come in at 9 a.m. we'll do the batch. So any order that comes in before that, what will happen is that, so 9 a.m. we'll hit the batch. It will then auto pull all the shipping labels. So depending on the configuration, it's usually just the cheapest shipping label. We'll go in this one. It might be a little bit quieter. It's all light configured. So until you, yeah. So what will happen is like once the e-shipper order actually like comes in, they will batch all the shipping labels. It will pull all of them in, and then it will just start printing them off. So every morning there's a thing called the labels team. The labels team is the one that will collect all the labels, all the picking setup, and then now they go through what they call like their sprints, where then one person's actually going through with the roller. In the future will be the robots, grabbing all the items, scanning everything out, and then afterwards is when they're gonna put the shipping label, match to the order, and then ship it over to the customers. Does that make sense?
What about, yeah, but so what if I have like inserts and stuff that I want to put into because I'm going direct to consumer, ships it out. I want a thank you card. I want, you know, a gift with purchase, or you guys do all that as well?
Yeah. Once we go back over there, I'll show you. Like we have some brands who do like, you know, they have like custom boxes and things like that. Like go to the receiving too. So yeah, so if they have like custom boxes or whatever it is, or inserts, we have like specific SOPs. There's not like that many customers in this warehouse, so it's like we've just set up a system where like those might stay at the picking station, but like a lot of the brands might do this for like virtual bundles. So they do like an FBM virtual bundle, but they want a thank you card inside, or you know, some of them are a little bit gray area with what they say on the cards, but the idea stays the same. So we'll show you one before the end of the tour too, Rob. But yeah, it's cool. A lot of them will do like a branded box package for the Shopify store. Or like some of them even want very specific packaging. Like they don't want poly bags. They need like craft paper because they're a sustainability company and there's like social challenges around that. So they each your own basically.
If you guys have any questions, leave them in the chat and we'll get to them.
This is actually shipment. It's about to go to Amazon now. So there's it's an ANS shipment, which is perfect. So ANS is about to do replenishment to Amazon. So you'll see this shipment has 54 cartons. So we have the outer case. Everything is pre-labeled. So we're not FNSKU labeling everything. We're just doing, everything's getting co-packed into Amazon's labeling. So we're forwarding the case, and then we're putting the, this shipment is specifically, I think, going SPD, or is it from the US? Oh, beautiful. So this one, so this is going to the US Amazon hub. So we kind of like a stallion-like model. We're driving it across the border to Indiana, and then we're drop shipping it from there, basically. So we have a local FC in Indiana. So these ship from labels are from Indiana. So we're bringing the whole pallet across. We're gonna dock it there, and then we're gonna break it down. We just found it was cheaper than shipping here directly to I don't know what Amazon hub, Greenfield, Indiana, it's going to. So we're bringing it all the way across, but the shipment's basically ready. I think it's gonna get picked up tomorrow.
So when you take that, is that informal entry or is that formal entries?
No,
I
formal
assume
entry.
it's formal at that size, yeah.
Yeah. For some of these guys, that just the volume, like as you know, what I think it's like you're doing more than like 25,000 a month-ish. The informal doesn't. So we'll still do a ton of informal, like at the smaller warehouses. But any customer that here is probably doing enough revenue that they need a more formal entry, from what I've seen. Here's another great example. So all of these, this is all going to Amazon. It's all ready. So you'll see here's all the carton labels. They're all ready to go, basically. I think it's like 20 pallets. So we have a container that's about to get set up, and then this is all going to go to one of the local FCs. I think it's going to YYZ. Ajax, Y001. One of them. But it's cool. It's a ton of pallets. It goes all the way up. How much is this? 6, 7? Oh no, we have these ones here too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 12, 16, and then one above, basically.
2 above.
No.
It's a lot.
Here's more. You guys can still see, yeah?
Oh yeah, we're good.
So another shipment. I have no idea what's in this bad boy. What's up, man? So you'll see here. This is just how we're just tracking it for the outbound, so we can keep it all organized. But everything has their carton labels. This is going to Y001 again. But everything's ready to go. We just need to put pallet labels on it. And I think they're just waiting for the appointment. But because there's multiple different clients, like that's the rest of the shipment there. We're trying to now strategically fill a whole container if we can just send it there. Like we can consolidate and then move everything at once. It's just going to be more effective. So now they're probably in a waiting game to see like, okay, can we configure 3 containers, right? And get like an expedited access because we're just shipping so much to one of the warehouses. So it all depends. Again, literally just more of it. But yeah, so what I wanted to show you guys, so what you see here, so these are all the docking stations. So like we have around 20 at this facility. So these are all ones that are going container D-stuffs or, you know, someone's sending a pallet into the facility. So anything coming in or anything going out has to go through one of the docking stations. If it's less than 3 pallets, we don't need an appointment. The carriers just arrive and fire away. If it's more than 3 pallets, they need an appointment with our warehouse. So again, it's one of the bigger warehouses, so we have to be more formal, or just people are going to show up with 10 containers worth of stock. But the same idea follows basically. So everything will come through here. They have specific scanning that they'll do on their hands, and then everything ends up getting like checked into the computer. So we'll end up labeling everything. We're going to scan it into our system, and then we're going to dedicate a specific locations at the warehouse. So the tech will actually tell us where to put it inside the warehouse. So if we scan it and we'll say, hey, here's the open slots available, go put it there. The one when the warehouse guys look at it, they just have a location. They just pick the pallet up, drive it over, scan it in, and then it's locked into the system. Does that make sense?
Yeah, man. Absolutely. It's a big
Yeah, it's
boy
cool.
warehouse.
Yeah, this is one of the biggest ones.
I'm amazed at the volume. This is like everything you're saying is like YYZ or whatever. It's like all going to Canadian warehouses. I'm just like, damn, dude. Like, imagine selling 2 container loads on .ca. Like those are some big sellers.
So we have a brand. They're a really big reseller. They're like a top 10 in the US. They do so in the US. They do around 700 million a year. So in Canada, so the brand's called Recommerce. They're like a huge reseller, massive company. They do 60 or 70,000 orders a day on .com. So now they're getting into to Canada. So we're doing all the preparation and handling and so forth. But for them, Amazon.ca should be like a $15 million business for them, 20 million. Again, it's across a suite of brands. So it's not just one private label brand or a couple products that everyone runs, but the volume is absurd for some of these guys. Even like even their Shopify for some of these guys is crazy volume. Or like they pick up Walmart, the amount of like Walmart pallets that we have coming out of the like retail can be a game changer for some of these businesses. So like we do a ton to Amazon, but like Costco or Walmart or Loblaws, we do like a absolute ton of it.
Are
So
you saying Walmart.ca? Like
No,
3PL?
like Walmart like retail, like
Oh,
the
okay.
actual physically retail stores. Walmart.ca. Yeah, no comment on that one. But anyway, so capacity wise, this warehouse can do, I think it's around 12 containers a day or 13 containers a day. They can handle more during peak. It's just not necessary. But they'll do close to, they'll be close to like 15,000 items a day, give or take, from the warehouse for like D2C and then some like FBA stuff. And then we have all the clients like, but you'll end up seeing like majority of these guys are carton forwarded. So a lot of them are just forwarding the cases to Amazon, at least at this facility. We have some customers that do a ton of like high volume, but it's not as required what we see. I want to see what else to show them. I kind of want to show the branded packaging with Rob, and then if you guys have questions, again, all Amazon. So if I want to blow your mind more, these entire 2 racks on the right-hand side, every pallet you see here is pending appointment going to Amazon. This side, you got it? This side and the other side. So we probably have 200 pallets waiting to get appointments. We saw delays the past week. So everything you see here, every single one. So it's going to YXU. They're all over the place. There's no consistency, but again, so even all these, so these are all going to Amazon, all the way up to the ceiling. They're all going to Amazon. So whenever the appointment's ready and the container is ready to fire away, all of this is just going to get moved directly over. And it's like this on the other side too. It's nuts. Very nutty.
How long right now are you waiting to get an appointment?
5 days.
Oh,
5 days is the average, give or take. So some of like our bigger sellers, they just want us to go small parcel. Like there's a couple shipments here that because we need to wait 5 days, or maybe it's going like out west, we might be able to get it faster, but then we're not going to put it into a container. It's just like a 1-off or 2-off pallets. So it's really expensive for the customer. So we're trying to find this like blend of like, we got a whole team behind it. Like, okay, how do you configure to try to fill a container so it's cheaper for everyone, but then it doesn't delay too long? Do you just ruin your chance of getting in stock? So some of our guys, when we try to run the rate for the crate or how long it's going to take, instead we'll go small parcel. So like we'll break down the pallet and just go SPD, the local hubs. It's faster. It might not be cheaper. Like we had a guy that we just sent, there's like 400 to 500 cartons. And we broke down all the pallets just because it was going to get there next day. And like it's prime rush, right? Like what are you going to do? Wait a week?
oh yeah, absolutely. Now's the time. And you know, if you're getting low on stock, you don't want to stock out either. It's like, okay, fine, I'll take it on the chin, pay a little extra freight, make sure it gets in there and not stock out.
I made that mistake recently. I sent in a pallet, which was a mistake, and it's been at least 2 weeks when I should have just sent boxes.
So again, all of these, this is one of the big resellers, like one of our largest resellers. They'll probably do around 100,000 units a month, Canada. Like this is peak Q4, but I think they did 100,000 units last month. Oh, audio? Yeah. They did 100,000 units last month. All of these are going to Amazon. I think it's close to like 20,000 items or 30,000 items just in this specific shipment. So I think it's like 45 pallets, give or take. But again, you'll see this is all going to, all of this is waiting Amazon appointment at the moment, just from the past couple of days. So they probably requested on like Friday. So all of it should be clear by the end of the week. And by then we'll just fill it back up with all the rest of the shipments the guys are doing basically. So
Yeah, exactly.
it's just like a constant, yeah, it's just a constant replenishment. I'll show you guys one more thing before we go. How are you? I just wanted to show you the branded box really quick too. Want to walk you through quick?
That's okay. All good.
You guys should see we got a whole film crew here. I
Yeah.
feel pretty damn
You're like-
cool. Yeah.
I'm answering if you're walking too quick. I'm like, no, man, I'm fine. I'm just sitting chilling in my chair. Meanwhile, your team is running after you.
You got it.
Yeah, I'm like running.
Yeah. I got
On-
dress shoes on the whole night.
Yeah.
You gotta like watch where you're walking to.
Yeah. I just wanted to see one of the brands, custom branded boxes we have a few of them. I don't know if any of them are ready. Do one of them have them there? Oh,
That one?
oh, beautiful. Yes. So, yeah, you'll see it here. So, these are all. They did some sort of like holiday collection. So again, like they pre-ordered all the boxes, and then now, like when an order comes in, I think for these guys, we're actually pre-building all of it, and then we're just gonna put it in a picking bin to make it easier, like thank you cards and so forth. But they ordered these somewhere for really cheap, and then they put all their product in, so they're all pre-built, and then now it's gonna go inside one of the storage bins to be able to fire away, basically. So super cool. Or like we have one there, LifeWave. I don't know what they're selling, but yeah, similar idea. It's just like we're just building the boxes as the orders come in. So we built, I don't know, you'll see here. I'm doing something. And if you see right here, just right through these two Gaylords, these are all orders from today for USPS. So these ones we're driving across the border and then dropping off. So the address is from Buffalo and it's going to US customers via 321. So there's probably another like 1,000 orders in there. And then every night we're just driving it across the border.
So those are items that have sold on Shopify or something in Canada and to US customers?
Yeah, bingo. Yeah, so they set up our Canadian for whatever reason. Maybe they're having like duty issues or it's just easier, whatever it might be. And then they'll split up the order. So if it's Shopify or FBM, their US orders are coming to us. It might just be cheaper for them. We're driving it to Buffalo or Indiana, and then we have a USPS label just breaking it down and then dispersing. Sort of like you guys do a lot for Amazon anyway. So following a similar thing just for e-com is the essence of it.
How quick do you think that would be like a turnaround? Like if the order came in on, say before 9 o'clock, it came in the night before.
4 days on average. It's usually like 3 to 4 days. So it's longer, but the shipping it's like $6 or something like that, $6 or $7. So it's cheap. Like we could ship it next day and go like DHL or UPS and go strong, but for them they're like a lot of these sellers might have like Trump tariff that's hitting them in the US. So instead they just literally want us to just, hey, we don't want to get hit with the tariff. We're gonna send it all to Canada and then you go 321. So on average, you'll say 3 to 5 days from the time the order actually comes in. So it's not the most effective, but it's the cheapest. And unless you're going prime, it's not like it's making that big of a dent either from like day 3 to day 5. So there's a range, but we're trying to speed that improvement up, but that's the cheapest lane. Some of them want next day, and maybe they have a high priced item. So they're willing to pay, I don't know, whatever it is, just because the margins make sense.
You have your own trucks that actually drive it, or you just subcontract for the drivers to take it across the border?
We have no anything across the border. No, we have subcontractors. We have a few of our own trucks, like just for here, for like local, like so we have our own Carrier Central Porter. So we have 4 trucks of our own, but majority of the time we'll try to get our own rate, and we're trying to build our own credit under Carrier Central, which is Amazon's like transit. It's like a Seller Central before the trucks basically. But 95% of them we're just subcontracting to a local one, and then yeah, we're just gonna consolidate all the brands, put it in a container, and then ship it out basically. Yeah, it's super cool. And these brands sell everything.
Can you get the mic out?
Oh,
No.
sorry.
Keeps going in.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's everything from like random sea flourish items to we're setting up a new brand now, which is why you'll see like all these picking stations are just getting set. So they're all empty, but they're literally just getting labeled today, so we can add everything in. So like as brands are needed, this warehouse is we're setting it up on demand. So as we need more of it, once we have the second floor, it'll be pretty cool. But for now, as the customer needs, if they need 50 SKUs with us, we'll just start setting up the bins accordingly. But if we know that we're going to plan for January, we'll just set up 1,000 bins, just depending on how many customers are coming in, basically. Last thing I wanted to show. No, this is pretty much it. Like, I think this is might be I think, yeah. So everything here. So this is an Amazon order. We're doing a bunch of, oh, beautiful. Here, check this out. So this is for GK Hair. They're like a big shampoo company. So they sell a bunch of like styling gels and things like that. But anyway, so now what we had to do is like this is pure prep. This is what you guys all know about. So what we're doing with these guys is we had a poly bag, graph and SKU labeling, everything, and then we're shipping out right to the Amazon FC. We're also creating bundles. So for these guys, we polybagged them. We picked 2 of them, polybagged, and then we're putting corresponding labels on them as well. They do retail. They're massive. GK Hair. Whew. Zainab, you gotta.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any other stuff?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. That's
So
great.
the missus loves it. Anyway, so this is GK Hair. That's about it. As we need like a prep work done, basically, it ended up getting done like if we need extra demand, this is where it might get done. So this is just like more prep station style, more like, you know, prep style bases. And then we have a really limited amount of cold storage. It's just like, it's not formal, but it's just a couple brands need it. This is the only warehouse of ours that's Canada Health certified. So we have like Canada Health compliance coming all the time and doing all their checks and balances. So it's like ambient, it can handle supplement brands and a bunch of other things. So because of it, it's like really high demand. So we have some like freezers and things like that set up just for cold storage stuff, like chocolates and so forth, but it's not a key, it's not a priority, unless like it's a must-have for the brand, basically. That wraps up the tour, guys, for the most part. I think I covered everything. Zainab, what do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Guys, do you guys have questions?
Yeah, there's some questions in the chat here. What do we got? Max, you've been looking at the chat?
Yeah, I don't understand the first one. Jan says, what WMS are you using? And what do you use for prep? I'm not sure what that means. Do you guys know what that means?
I know what he's saying. So
Okay.
So there's 2 types. Like in our e-commerce warehouses, we use like a formal off-the-shelf tech like 3PL Central. So this like if you're running like a full-fledged warehouse, you have to have like a NetSuite or a 3PL Central. There's a few of the big dogs that like will do inventory management and the whole 9 yards. For our prep warehouses, we've built our own tech stack specifically for Seller Central. We call it like a prep portal. So we've had to build it. Now I think there's some like off-the-shelf solutions as well if you have a prep center. But we had to build ours. It's basically like it's a mini warehouse management system. So it will do FBA. It'll connect for FBA. We're building out the module to connect for FBM. So, but it's only meant for Amazon. So it can pull inventory like any of our customers if you guys are listening. But it will pull inventory. You'll have live dashboard, and it will automatically create the shipment under Seller Central. So if you're in our portal, you can click like create order. It will auto create a shipment plan under Seller Central, and then we'll process it through. So we don't need like user permission, or you don't need to email us the labels and go back and forth. It's all automated, but we had to build that from scratch basically. And then the big warehouses are under 3PL Central. 2 different types.
All right, the next question's from Rachel. She says, any words of advice for someone starting in the prep world? Seems like you guys have a bunch of great brands. Do you have a team reaching out to brands daily?
We've been not now. Like we never really built an outbound system for the most part. A lot just came through like our first couple customers were in like Rob's group, right? This was Rob remembers years and years ago. I opened up like a small Kitchener warehouse, and I was like, Rob, I'm just gonna like throw away say 300 units, and this was like I don't know 2017 or 2018 with Rob. So my first couple customers actually came from like Facebook groups and communities. That would be my first recommendation. We're pretty blessed now. Like we have a ton of customers that reach out to us and referrals and this and that. My recommendation, build a community. Like there's amazing sellers in Facebook groups like Rob's and so forth. So you can provide enough value to them and educate them. And there's not a lot of education in the spec world. Like I even do a really bad job at it myself. So I think you can find the right groups that you can help the sellers with and just give a ton of value. Somewhere down the line, I think it'll play back. That would be my recommendation, Rachel, but message me. I'm happy to give you some feedback. And we also have a lot of businesses that we can't take on. They're too small for us, or it just doesn't make sense. So Rachel, message me. Hopefully we can make some intros as well.
Yeah, it's a great answer. Blair lives and breathes prep. I mean, his dad also runs a prep company, and he's my prep company, his dad. So I don't understand why you guys
It's
don't just
crazy. Like,
work together. But your dad has his own prep company too.
so the reason that we built that for him, well, he wanted to go into retirement, and he's like, he
Right.
wanted a side hobby. We get so many businesses that like just like for whatever, it's just not, they're not good fits for us, or maybe they're just starting, or they just don't have the volume for the justify. So a lot of these guys, like beforehand, we kind of just like we have to just say no, and it's such a shame. So there's so much business. Like we have like 3 partnered prep centers that are full just because we refer a ton of business. So like I
Right.
built my
Yeah.
dad's prep center, just and then Max, obviously you're flooding them, but
You're a
yeah,
no. Max is a no.
funny.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, Doug's got a question here. Any common mistakes that your customers make? Any examples of what they can do to make things flow easier?
This is Rami, by the way. Rami runs this the warehouse. He's the good looks behind the warehouse too.
This is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. It's the kind of combo between the two. That's what it is. So one question, what do you think the hardest thing is of running a warehouse this size?
Is to make sure to find product in the right location.
Yeah. Like product in the right location consistently.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
The number of SKUs is high,
How many SKUs are in this warehouse?
100,000.
100,000 SKUs.
Yeah.
That would do it. That would do it. Okay.
Yeah, imagine have to find these.
It's like a scavenger hunt, basically. Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Take it.
Sorry, what was the question?
Just any common mistakes customers make? Any examples of what things they can do to make things flow easier?
Yeah, there's a ton. I think one thing that brands don't leverage enough of is like, and I did it too. Like I was a seller for a year. Like the idea of going cross border, like formally entering into the U.S. is like, it's like something people like fear and have nightmares about. So like you can only do, a Stallion Express, and you have a cap of how many. I think like one thing I regret doing earlier was not just figuring out like what's a brokerage account and how to ship freight directly across the border. I know Max, even in your early days, like it's something that I think we should have done earlier. So I think that's a big challenge if you can figure it out. Outside of that, I'm a huge fan of like using Canada as a launch pad and then getting into the US. So that's a big piece. Prep wise, what people mess up the most, we hear a lot of horror stories picking the wrong prep center or like warehouse as a whole. It's not a plug for us. It's just in general, like really do your diligence. I think you guys have probably seen over the past couple months, like it's a shame what we're hearing with these other prep centers, but you don't do your diligence, it's scary. And like, they have your product, and we're not the cheapest, like by far. There's much cheaper solutions, but some of these like they don't have insurances, right? So like if you got to ask the right questions, if they don't have insurance, if something blows up in their warehouse, like at the end of the day, God forbid it ever happens, it's going to be on you. If they lose product, like sure they say they'll compensate you, will they? Do they actually have the money to do it? Like, do they have contracts in place? I know contracts can be intimidating. Customers give us feedback that the contracts can be a lot, but it's also just for security's sake, like making sure that like you're protected, the company's protected. So again, I would almost overemphasize like the fulfillment center you pick, especially if it's like Shopify and so forth. Prep is a whole different world as a whole, but you choose the wrong partner, like you are like royally screwed, and they can literally put your business into the ground. So I would just be careful. And again, I would almost look at them like therapists. Like a big prep center might not be a good fit for you, or a big 3PL might not be a good fit for you because you won't get maybe that love and attention that you would get at, like a small mom and pop, or like my pops' business. You can just call them all day long. Exactly. Yeah. So you'll get different leverage. So you'll get cheaper at a smaller warehouse. You gotta pick and choose wisely depending on how you're growing. There's so many considerations, but I'd recommend that as diligence. Everything else is crazy.
On that though, like due diligence to me is like, okay, I can.
You want to put
Like, if I'm trying to pick a prep center, you don't know what you don't know, right? Like if you're just a newer seller and I'm like, I've never prepped, I don't know what it's like to run a prep center. What should I ask? What are the things I should know? You gave me an example about, okay, they're going to compensate you if there's lost stuff, but like, what kind of questions should we ask? Because I've had a prep center go down in New Hampshire, and they ghosted and closed the doors, and the babysitter was showing up like once a day to let parcels in, and we had to go down and get all our stuff. But what are the right questions to ask and to try to figure it out, other than obviously ask for referrals? I mean, that's a good starting point, but I mean, It's I'll give you a good referral if you
what-
haven't screwed me yet.
what I always did, because we had a bunch of sellers that always come to us to go like, you guys are way more expensive. And I'll be like, please ask them to FaceTime. Be like, do a warehouse tour. Be like, I promise you, like either offer to go to their, because I was there 4 years ago where like I had my stock photos on, I had a little shed that I was using in Kitchener. I think Max was there. I think Robbie sent some shipments there. Like it was 300 square feet. But I looked like I had enough muscle and I have my stock images. The biggest recommendation is like, see if they're willing to FaceTime you to go for the quick tour. Like it doesn't need to be a big ass warehouse. Like this is glorified. It's just because it's e-commerce and it's necessary. But for a lot of these guys, it doesn't need to be a big warehouse. It's just like, it's just proof that they're there, right? And there's the system and they're flowing and the way that they can communicate. I think that's a key one. I would ask about insurances, right? I would see what sort of insurance policies they have if, God forbid, something went wrong. I would ask about their refund process. You can ask them about like turnaround time and things like that. I think it's going to be pretty standard for every warehouse. So I think that's okay. Tech is always a benefit. I think there's a lot more prep centers that are coming out with tech now. But again, you can work with Google Sheets. It's not the sexiest, but a lot of prep centers do it. So I'd see what sort of technology they have. I think those are the key ones. I wouldn't overcomplicate it. It's the insurance, the liabilities, and what happens when it goes wrong, because it will go wrong. Like everyone makes a mistake. Today we'll make a mistake on an order. It's just like it's warehousing. It happens. It's just more about like what happens when that mistake goes on. If you can find one in your state, great. I think that's always good. But reviews can be, they can be deceiving at sometimes too. So I don't know. There's a level of like gut instinct, Rob. I think you know too. It's just like you can be talking to someone and go like, shit, like I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. But go for a tour virtually. I think doing something like this, all of our bigger customers, if we can't, a lot of them fly out. Like we had a client from like Germany fly out last week. Like it's intimidating. But if you can do virtual with the prep center, I think it should give you enough, like at least like allow you to sleep at night knowing like, okay, cool. They got some sort of system set up. It qualifies them a bit.
Dude, and you're so right. Like I see sometimes these guys pitch me and they're like, hey, we're the lowest, we're the cheapest. And I'm like, guess what? I get what I pay for. Most things in life. And you know what? If you're telling me that you can undercut everybody, like I like the strategy. Hey, I want to get your business. I'll give you 100 units free or 500. Let us prove ourselves. But don't just tell me that you're the cheapest and that's what it is. Well, I either get fast, I get cheap, or I get good. I only get 2 out of those 3. So
like it's
one of
crazy.
them's
Like
gonna go.
If you Google like AMC prep now, there's like 4 or 5 like random like one I think is literally called there's like a couple that almost look identical to us. And like I have no idea who they are. And like God forbid a seller goes to them, maybe thinking it's us because they heard about us through referral. So it's scary. Like you definitely have to do your due diligence. They're all over the place. But there's some amazing ones too. Like there's some mom and pop ones that are so badass and they're cheap. You always gotta like try a couple out to see what you like. You know what I mean? It's almost like dating. You gotta take on a couple dates to see what you like. Send each one of them 50 units. Expect the absolute worst, and then if it doesn't, like, say la vie. I guess maybe that's how you find your partner.
Prep centers have a way of disappearing and closing down too. Blair,
Yeah.
do you have time for a couple more?
Yeah, for sure. As long as Zainab, your arms are okay.
Are okay
Holding it.
so far.
Okay. Kix asks from 0 to 170,000 square feet, how many years and the biggest challenge you faced to get there?
So we have a few other warehouses now. We're 5 years in now, give or take. So the last COVID was a huge push more than anything. So what was the actual question?
It's the biggest challenge. Like
What was the biggest
Getting
challenge?
there.
Yeah.
Oh, biggest challenge was just like space demand. Honestly, that's key. Like, we didn't have systems set up. Like, I'm not an operator by any means. So we've hired really good people now. Early days, I really cheaped out on hiring like the right people. I was a cheap ass about it. Like, I wanted to do all the orders myself because I thought I was so damn good at it. I wish I just hired the right people earlier and paid them what they asked for. I think we would have moved a lot faster. So I think that was one of the key challenges, was just not bringing in the right people that fast. And it's just inventory. Like just like Rami said, we have 100,000 plus SKUs in the warehouse. It's a nightmare. A year and a half ago, we had to go through like almost a purge of all of our customers, where we had to it was close to probably like 100 customers know, like, hey, you're not a right fit. Like we'll introduce you to other partners, but just we've learned like what we're really good at. We went through a really bad scenario where we said, it's like any business, right? We're like, oh, screw it. If there's a margin, like bring it on. Like, well, let's hustle it and build a business out of it. Horrible idea. In hindsight, I wish we like focused on the right types of businesses for us. I think we would have grew a lot faster. But yeah, inventory's challenge, not having the right team too early. That was a huge challenge. But it's fun. Yeah, we're having a blast. I'm trying to become a bloody influencer now, but yeah, all is fun.
Our friend Vin has asked, what is the next focus for expansion for you and AMZ Prep?
We've been so we have our waters pretty deep into the US. So we have like a whole silo set up there. So one of the warehouses is ours, and then we have a partnered warehouse that we've given them our tech. It's almost like a prep center, but we've basically built them from scratch. They're using our technology, and it's us dipping our toes into the US. So we have a couple really big sellers that we're managing down there. The US is going to be big for us. So next year we're going to have a really aggressive push there. It's anything international. Like we'll still support the Canadians, but the US businesses, like whatever they do in Canada, they do 10x in the US, right? So that's a huge opportunity for us. So just right there, all of our Canadian business, if we can work on their fulfillment in the US for FBA and so forth, or their China shipments, huge opportunity for us. And then we just opened up. So with Recommerce, that big seller that I was telling you guys about, we just split a warehouse in Netherlands. It's super small. It's like 10,000 square feet. We have a few brands there. So that's us dipping our toes in there. Like I like crawling before I walk to see what the demand looks like. So US is gonna be a huge push next year for us. And then next year we're gonna test the waters of the EU because we have a ton of brands that want to expand. If that goes well, then we'll actually formally set something up there. But baby steps. But that's the vision. I think you gotta go global wherever these brands are going, especially the big ones. Almost all my conversations around like how do brands go internationally. So we're following where the water flows basically. So if brands need UK, like bloody hell, I'll figure it out. We'll fly out there, we'll set something up, and then start to get demand around it.
For sure.
I've got a question that I know everybody else has. Well, some people do. There's at least one other than me. Dude, you start a Shopify site in Canada. I feel like it's Russian roulette trying to come up with my shipping pricing because I don't want someone in northern Alberta burning me, someone in, these, super high expensive areas to ship to. How do I configure my shipping? If I say, hey, I got free shipping over 150 or I got a flat rate of $10 or something. I know if it's going to the urban areas, I'm good, but how do I try to eliminate those? Like in the US, it's pretty much, hey, lower 48. That's what everybody calls it, right? You don't ship to Hawaii or you don't offer the free shipping, Hawaii and Alaska. How do I figure that out? Because every once in a while I get burned with someone who lives way up north in Quebec, way up north in Alberta, obviously the Yukon and Nunavut and Northwest Territories. But how do people figure that out? Right? Like how do they constrain that?
There's limits of like what you can do, right? Like there's not a perfect answer. So if you go to, so we fulfill for this brand, it's called Rainbow. RAINBO.ca. They do like health drops. It's super cool stuff. What they've configured, so and they use the eShipper side, but you can, if there's another rate shopper that does it, there probably is. So what they do is because that app is connected, they've built a ton of configurations based off of like if and thens. So one of them is that like if it's below $75, what will happen when a customer puts in their postal code? And if you guys are like, go to the website and go check out and see, you might like mess up her conversions. She'll be like, what the hell is happening? But you can go to it and see, and basically it will, if it's below $75, it will auto populate like 5 or 6 other carriers that they're paying for. So they're not willing to pay the business. Like they don't want to pay the shipping labels on it. So the customer has the option to be able to do it. Rob, I'm pretty sure you can do it with that app too, the eShipper side, where you can basically configure it. So if it's in a certain like province, it's like always the customer needs to pay. A horrible customer experience, right? Like unless there's a clear like summary on the website, but sometimes you're gonna get absolutely screwed. Like some of those shipments to like,
but
it's crazy.
That's the thing. If I say Alberta will be fine, except for 2 or 3 places way up north where the oil fields are, or there's some remote. And yeah, next thing you know, instead of it being like $10 or $15, it's like $35, $40. That's Canada Post only. right?
Some of the brands that we've seen, like they found a blended average cost. So some of them I've seen like mark up their shipping slightly to be able to cover the cost, or some of them just run like a net average. Every 25th order is going to go to Nova Scotia or the boonies inside of British Columbia, and they've just run the cost average to see what they've baked into their margin basically that they're going to get screwed. Not ideal, to be honest.
That's the approach I was kind of taking. Like, okay, let's roll the dice, see how it averages out. It should average out with the population kind of thing. But the other thing is like somebody needs to come out with, go through all the postal codes and figure out what those ones are and write, an actual database with here's the postal codes that are going to destroy your shipping and here's the ones that are fine, and set up a custom. But even like in Shopify, it just seems to be provinces or urban areas. And, I just wondered what you'd seen.
No, it's a good point. There's no right answer. I don't think I've never seen anyone properly configure. It's a good point. It's so challenging, right? Because every postal code is going to be different. Like there's ones even up north in Ontario. If you get one of those, it's going to be $30. Like it's absolutely insane. I'm seeing more carriers come up with like flat rate options, like Canada wide, but it's really early stage. Like they're going for more like a USPS sort of style. So I think we'll see that going into next year, or like you have MCF, which I guess is the only other option in that instance too.
Yeah, well, I got you here too, man. Do you still
Yeah.
you still do some regular small Amazon guys, like, or is it just your dad doing that, or you still taking on some new OA?
Yeah, no, we
peeps?
still support a bunch. Like we've just leveled up our minimums. So like we have this is a big warehouse. Like you guys got to see the prep center. It's smaller, right? We have one like 15 minutes away. Even like our one down the street, it's like 20,000 square feet, but it's only meant for prep. So we'll still take on a ton of smaller sellers, but usually like if they're doing less than, call it 300 items a month, it won't make sense for us. So some sellers, we have like a $300 to $500 minimum items per month for OA or for wholesale. But we just reopened up OA like a couple months ago. So we're just being more selective. That's all. We have like hundreds and hundreds of these sellers now. So we're good at it. We got the right process, but if they're only doing 30 orders a month, like 30 items a month or 100 items a month, it's so challenging for it to make sense for us. So we might introduce them to, a small mom and pop or my pops. And then once they graduate, basically, but if they're on pace or anyone here's on pace for more than 300 to 400 a month, then it will make sense. Or they're OAs like that. We built a pretty good system around it. And I know like there's other guys like Ebbs and Flow and things like that. They're also great too. And I know they have very low minimums. So those guys were here a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, they're great as well, for sure.
You got any secret places that I could buy some prep supplies other than Uline?
I'll send you a couple links, Rob. Message me. Yeah, I got a couple. I got a couple.
No, now you said that on the cast, so everybody's gonna be like, "Hey, man, where can I get them?"
They've gotten a couple of them now that we've been trialing out. Like I know our poly bags and majority of our boxes aren't coming from Uline. I'm staring at a huge Uline box as we speak, though, so maybe I'm wrong. But I know some of the supplies we've been able to get from other places. Honestly, Amazon was great for the longest time too. But there's some like local guy in Brampton. I don't know. You like knock twice on his door, and you close your eyes and you just magically get really cheap boxes. So I don't know if they fall off the back of his truck or what it is, but it works. I'll get where the supplies are. I'll drop it in the.
See, that's what I want. That's the inside stuff. No, man. Hey, don't get me wrong. I still like Uline and the odd, Yeti mug. And well, I mean, what you guys are buying, you're probably getting Yeti coolers here. So.
Oh, the amount of like feet warmers or whatever they're called that we get is like absolutely insane. The amount of like Blue Jays hats that we get from these Uline orders is bonkers. It doesn't even make sense. Yeah.
All right.
Sorry,
we
Max.
got time for one more here, and then we'll wrap this up.
Yeah.
Doing an hour? Okay. Last question I got here is from Edward. I think this is like a very common question about shipping across the border, but can you talk about like the $800 limit and what that looks like for somebody who's sort of just beginning a little bit of OARA, wholesale, that kind of thing, and what that $800 limit a day means?
Yeah, my actually recommendation, like, so 321 with the $800 limit, so that's section 321. I'd recommend you do the prep yourself. Like that would be my first thing, just so you can learn the process, especially if you're just starting out. Like you might outsource it too early, and you won't really get it. And if you don't get it, you can't really put pressure on the prep center to figure their stuff out, basically. But yeah, so the 321 program, we don't do, we'll still use like a third-party carrier majority of the time, like a Stallion or like a cross border. But the 321, any of those OA orders going, as long as the total value per shipment is under $800 per ship to address. I know like this is the best lane that we've seen. So I know like Max, I know what you guys have done in the past is that you'll have multiple addresses in the US as well. It's definitely like a gray area. There's no right answer. For now, it gets across, so it's not a challenge. But as long as it's ship to address per day. So we've even seen it like with some of our sellers back in the day, we'd have like 40 boxes that each day one would get across the border. I think Max, you've also had those sort of congestions in the past.
Yeah. It's pretty much solved now. Your dad
There's no
solved
right
it.
way. Yeah, that's good. That's good. At least you figured it out. But yeah, so it's the 321. It's the easiest way to get into the US. Once you get above, call it $20,000 a month in sales, OA, RA, wholesale, your cross border starts to get diminished. And when that happens, you got to figure out brokerage. Like Max, you somehow solved enough that you found enough loopholes, but you save yourself a ton of just headache. If you can figure out how to palletize and just formally broker it in, it's not that expensive. It's just a little bit intimidating with the paperwork. But once you figure out, it's a huge cheat code. But hit like a 20,000 threshold or a 30,000 threshold, and then look at going directly from like Canada, your house, or prep center, whatever it is, and then shipping to. But yeah, baby steps. But use a stallion or something like that. Prep it yourself, drop it off, zip it across the border. I think keep it simple.
Cool.
Thanks guys for joining.
Rob,
This
last
is-
words.
No, man. All I can say is thank you so much for this, man. Even though I had technical difficulties, this turned out really good. And you are so
I'm
pro
glad.
with your team and the
Hey, we got-
microphone. I thought you'd just be
They're
walking around with
badass.
your camera. Hey, the unsung heroes right there. Absolutely.
No, I love it. I appreciate you guys, man. I need my voice is almost gone, but yeah, if you guys ever have questions, I want to be more engaged in your guys' group, so I'll support. And I send a lot of voice notes. You guys will see that. But if you guys have questions,
Okay,
I'm
now-
happy to support. Had to
Good.
go through trials. and
Somebody
tribulations.
else was asking for your dad's. Someone was asking for your dad's number.
Oh, give it away, please.
We'll post it on the follow-up, but no, dude,
Yeah.
thanks so much. This has been awesome. Thanks everybody
Of
for
course, guys.
joining.
Thank you, Blair.
Apologize for the technical difficulties, but we got through it and this was wicked, man. Thanks so much.
I love it, guys. All right, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks everybody.